So Charles Smith. Where do you live, Charles?
I live in South Bend.
Okay. There's been a lot of discussion on Facebook about this proposed change.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of speculation about what this may or may not mean. And everything's so tentative right now, and I haven't been able to actually get a copy of this change in writing.
Right.
But
you're not going to be able to get one. That's
yeah, and I'm not yet. So my understanding, I just want to make sure, basically we both are kind of on the same page with regard to what this could mean. Basically, we've got these volunteer rescue groups like South Bend Lost and Found Pets that would be shut out from coordinating foster care because they would need to be a 501c3 organization to do so.
Correct, and that would include even regular private citizens too. So, just like South Bend Lost and Found Pets, all that is really is, the community putting in effort together, and that's how a lot of work, the animal groups around here are. Like, I run Pitbull South Bend, and, we work with South Bend Lost and Found Pets, on certain things or whatever, and, they've been able to help get, two of our members, their dogs, back almost a year later of being gone, like things like that. So, we definitely depend on, on them and other lost and found groups, matter of fact, the South Bend Police Chief's brother just posted on Friday that he had lost a puppy. Well, the puppy ended up coming up, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday, it ended up coming up. And so he ended up getting his dog back thanks to South Bend Lost and Found Pets. And then he turned around and he ended up finding a dog wandering the street. So he ended up taking in the dog. And then he found the owners, and it eliminated having
the power. Yeah, with the power of numbers and so many people that are able to search and help out on this page, it's certainly a positive. It's been used as a positive tool in the community. If you don't mind, Charles, I've got some important facts that I need to get for this story. And I've been, just to give you a little bit about me, I've lived here for about a half year. I relocated from northern New York.
Okay.
And so I'm still learning about how various parts of county government and city government work together.
Yeah.
And how the municipalities work.
Yeah.
But in this case, we've got the Humane Society, and they cover Mishawaka and all incorporated areas of the county.
Correct.
And then we have South Bend Animal Care and Control, which, just strictly within the city limits.
Correct.
That's how St. Joe is divided up. Are there any other dynamics, or those are just the two, obviously?
Nope.
That's the main dynamic, right?
No, yep, that's definitely the main, dynamic. No doubt.
Okay, so let's talk about this then. And I may need to get this from someone else, but what I've heard on Facebook, and the consensus seems to be that this change, there was speculation whether there was language in South Bend's ordinance that already said something like this. But then I saw one of the group members confirm that no, there's nothing like this in South Bend's ordinance.
No.
So there's a question as to whether an effort will be made in South Bend to also change their ordinance. Have you heard about that at all?
Yes, South Bend, they are talking about going back, those that were part of the rewrite for South Bend when it changed a couple of years ago. They're pulling them back together, but they're not pulling them back together for that topic. They're pulling back together to make sure that they cover all the loose ends because they're having a problem enforcing some of their own new ordinances. So they're going back to revise, not to implement.
So it's not at all related to this particular change. Because I read something about a meeting that's coming up soon to look at that South Bend ordinance. So completely unrelated, in your opinion.
Yeah, as far as I know, because actually Valerie Shea, which she was a council member of South Bend last year, and she was actually one of the main people behind the change of the South Bend, animal ordinance, and she reached out to let me know, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We gotta go back in, and we're probably gonna do some changes, some tweaks to the South Bend ordinance to better so they can actually enforce some things. And let me
ask you this. Go ahead.
Okay, and she assured that she got certain people's emails, and when she was with South Bend, they definitely relied on the public input. So she reached out to certain people in the community that she knows that is pretty familiar with animal welfare, and she's going to keep everybody up to date, on what's going on with the revise of the South Bend ordinances.
Talk to me about Pit Bulls South Bend and what you do. I looked you up on Facebook, and you're a closed group, which means you've got this vetting process, and so you got over 2,000 members. Just briefly talk to me. Just give me a Cliff Notes summary, because I know we both have limited time. I got to do a lot of reporting to finish this story. I'll just be honest with you. So I'm trying to make the most of my time. So just give me a quick summary of what you do there.
Okay, well,
and how your mission falls in line with. Go ahead.
Okay, Pit Bull South Bend actually started because the change of the South Bend animal ordinance. It actually started to help push to get rid of BSL, change the ordinances in South Bend, and that's what its original goal was supposed to be, and it wasn't supposed to be nothing more. Well, it turned into something more where now, we provide people with the education, we give tips, ideals, we got trainers in there, we got people, we have police officers in there, we have people from different animal control agencies, and we have different people from all over the country that's involved in animal welfare as a whole.
So South Bend's animal ordinance, can you just give me a rough idea of when that was that revision was approved? Was it roughly 2 years ago, Charles?
Yeah, it was a little bit over 2 years ago.
Okay, so what was the main thing? What was the main? So you're sure it was 2014?
Yeah, I believe it was 2014.
Okay, so what was the main? What were just some of the main key improvements that were made as a result of that revision?
The main key improvements was pretty much to get rid of the breed-specific legislation, and to actually be able to hold the owner more accountable and responsible for a dog's actions. Rather than saying, hey, all these dogs are bad, well, we're going to set all these guidelines. No, instead we're going to set guidelines for the owners instead of the dogs. So that was their focus, to more focus on the owners, not so much a breed or a dog. It's case-by-case scenario.
And like pit bulls, for example.
Right. Pit bulls, Rottweilers, and such, And it's definitely all about who raises them and how they raise them,
Okay, so I think you can help me understand this then. So is your understanding then that if this change, let's just say hypothetically that it's enacted, it would only be applicable to everything outside of South Bend? Because South Bend would still be governed exclusively by its own ordinance. Is that your understanding?
I believe so, but I don't know if they have to kind of, pair with St. Joe County, because South Bend already compares with South Bend. Like the whole loss, when you lose a dog, find a dog, they have about the same exact ordinance except time frame. And both agencies can already have the right to, say you take a dog and you say, hey, I found this dog. They can say, hey, well, you're not taking this dog out of the shelter. The dog's staying. Or they can say, okay, we're using our discretion. You can go ahead and hold of the dog. And, it helps us out. It keeps, spaces open. So that's how it works for South Bend. So the SBACC definitely relies a lot on the community, and and if you go back in their budget reports, you'll see that.
No, I get it, but I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is if this went into effect, because right now in South Bend, they would be okay. They would be okay, correct me if I'm wrong, with what South Bend Lost and Found is doing, which is basically providing these fosters,
Right.
and they would be comfortable with having, you know, that continue
Right.
in South Bend. They're okay with it right now.
Right.
So if the county ordinance changes, unless the city's South Bend takes action to change its ordinance, it would not be applicable within South Bend.
Right. You may be correct. Like, I can't totally say.
I need to figure that out.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever talked to Valerie Shea, or if you try to reach out to her, but she actually runs care of South Bend, of SBACC. And plus, she was a council member, so she could definitely answer that question, no doubt for sure. And she could probably answer your question on why they're being pulled back in, to verify.
Do you have a number for Valerie?
I do not. You can contact her on Facebook, or you can contact South Bend Animal Care Control, and you can probably reach her through there too.
Okay. All right. So now I just want to get your perspective, just condensed here on this. I've seen a lot of chatter on Facebook. What do you think the implications of this could be on the shelters? Because I've been told that this group, SBLF, helps get pets, hundreds of pets to owners.
Oh, yeah.
And by doing so, they, like you said earlier, they keep those pets out of shelters. These shelters have limited space. When they're when they're packed, they euthanize.
Right.
Let's be honest about it.
Right. Well, luckily, South Bend, they no longer can euthanize a dog because of space. Like, when they set the ordinances, they made new ordinances for the director too, on top of it. So, like, if they got overpacked, honestly, I don't know what they would do. But
But Humane Society can.
Right. Now, Humane Society, they're not so much community-oriented. They don't work so much with the community like South Bend Animal Care Control.
But your understanding is they can euthanize because of space? Humane Society.
I can't confirm that, but Melissa Yoakum would probably be one that would be able to confirm that. She said that they don't kill dogs over space, you know what I'm saying? But, St. Joe County Humane Society has had a bad rep for a long time, and then they switched directors, and now you're seeing pit bulls out on the floor, but a lot of it had to do with BSL.
And now you're seeing pit bulls. So you're saying they had a track record of euthanizing pit bulls, or what?
Yeah, because of BSL. So,
I'm sorry, BSL,
which is breed specific legislation.
So they want to do, that's one of the big changes they want to make. So I need to have at least, a summary in this story talking about some of the changes they do hope. Because what they wanted to do, this started out being a very positive thing, Charles.
Oh, yeah.
The whole group, everyone on that group loves animals. Let's be honest about it. So there was a lot of goodwill, and everyone was saying, let's improve this thing, make it closer to South Bend. South Bend is good. And then all of a sudden...
Yep, I was actually part of the original group, because there was two groups, is what there actually was. There was a suggestion, feedback, informative group that started, and then it shrunk down to, obviously you don't want to have a bunch of people, because then you get a lot of confusion, then you get a lot of disagreements and everything else. So, just like a committee, you say, hey, these certain people go in, they do it, they come back for us. For
so you get it then. You understand why they shrunk it and why they don't want all these people at these meetings.
Yep.
But there's kind of discussion on that too, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Right.
So they started out with this mission, and everyone agreed, was on the same page, and then this red herring comes up. Now, I don't know who actually proposed this. I don't know if it was Jenny Carlson. Or
I don't know.
I know that Becky and Linda are names that are floated a lot as being staunch supporters of this.
Yeah.
But I don't need to get into the weeds.
Right.
So this comes up, and my understanding is Ruth is the one, pretty much the only one opposing this. And so she's now gone on Facebook.
Right.
And she's created this social media buzz about this. And now we hear that a lawyer is doing pro bono work, and this whole thing has escalated.
Yeah. And
the word witch hunt is being floated around. And I've heard from, just to share with you, Raphael Morton. He just wants to have a dialogue, and he wants to be very fair to Ruth.
Right.
And he's looking at this and saying, "Look, I don't have a dog in this fight. No pun intended. I don't have a stake in this. I just want to make sure everybody's voice is being heard."
Right.
And now the whole thing is backfired.
Right. Because that's the thing. People's voices aren't being heard. It's like, and nobody.
Okay, so that's the heart. That's the heart of it. So what do you think is going wrong right now, and what do they need to do to fix it?
One thing that's definitely going wrong right now. Just like anybody that's in that meeting, is they have no idea what happened. In the meeting before, or if they missed meeting, like they don't know. So if they don't know exactly what's going on, they don't know what to report back. But yeah, I mean, definitely South Bend, when they did theirs, they were all about community input, okay? And they stressed that. And in this case, it's seeming like the only time that the community is going to get a chance to get input is when it comes to the vote on the table, So it's like, but, it's kind of crazy because Becky sits on the South Bend Animal Care Control Board of Commission, so she knows that, how much good South Bend Lost and Found Pets has done for South Bend Animal Care Control, as well as, right along with St. Joe County Humane Society. So, I'm kind of lost as to why, anybody would want to kind of put this even on a shelter, because that definitely takes away from even bigger problems that they really, really need to focus on right now. But I've tried to reach out to Raphael, and I can't even get a response from him.
There has even been reporting in the media that this group, South Bend Moss and Pets, has taken away a burden, and statistics show that the return to owner rate has improved pretty significantly.
Oh yeah.
They've reduced the burden in that shelter.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that real briefly. Do you think the numbers have changed pretty significantly?
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, South Bend Animal Care Control used to have a euthanization rate of over 60%. Okay. And now they're below the national average, and that's a little bit over 20% of the dogs that come in get put down. That's not for all the animals together, because it's a different number for cats. But for like dogs, it definitely helps them. And South Bend Animal Care Control and really relies on the community. I mean, Pitbull South Bend has done a lot too for South Bend Animal Care Control, and we've had meetings with the past director Matt Harmon on how can the community help? How can it make it easier for everybody? Because we rely on the shelters, and the shelters rely on us. So they're very strong when it comes to like a community-based, working together. So
where can I try to get a hold of Becky?
Probably South Bend Animal Care Control. I'm thinking maybe, if not, then Facebook.
I've messaged her already on Facebook, and I spoke with Linda, and I said, get Becky to call, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have all this buzz about conflicts of interest. Like, for example, Linda Candler, so let's talk about Linda Candler. So she has a certified rescue organization, right? So so since she's a 501c3, right? She can. I'm not positive that she is. I'm assuming, she's obviously okay with the language. So she would then, they're alleging that she would then benefit by this change. Some people are.
But see, that's the thing. Linda, she works for, I really don't know Linda. I don't really know much about Linda, but I do know that she runs some kind of rescue daycare type thing. I don't know. Yeah. But when it comes to like a South Bend lost and when it comes to a lost and found issue, she's not out there looking for the dogs. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know of any rescue agencies that directly focus on lost and found animals. You know what I'm saying? Like
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So
it's
I'm
just
not
pretty
sure
much
exactly
it's just pretty much the
right.
two main shelters, Humane Society and
right. And they're not 24 hours, okay? And that's the biggest problem. Like in South Bend, you call the police and you say, hey, there's a stray dog running down the street. It's SBACC's closed.
During the evening, weekend, or a holiday, nobody can do anything.
Exactly. And so now
that's the gap that this group fills.
Yep, exactly. So, and that's definitely my point. Like, they go above and beyond. Like, definitely, Like, I get that group.
What could this change? Now, when people have, you get all this hyperbole of, this could shut the group down. And the group would still, it seems to me, Charles, would still obviously survive this because they still post photos and help find dogs, and they could still do that. This just focuses on the foster care element.
Right.
But still, it would still be a major hit to this group because how much foster care do you think they do? Group.
It's pretty much, it's really the finder on the foster care thing. Like, I came across a dog probably about a month or two ago, say, okay, and obviously I couldn't take the dog to my house. I got 4 dogs, okay, and just luckily my aunt, German Shepherd, had ear surgery, so she was able to keep the dog overnight. So I was able to pull the dog off the street until the following morning, and then we turned it into South Bend Animal Care Control. Now, if I wasn't able to find a foster, pretty much what's saying is, if you can't find a foster, you leave the dog on the street. And nobody wants that, I mean,
now, when you say that this would exclude even private citizens, that's why I want to see the actual law, because there's so much speculation and gray area. But so your understanding then, so my understanding is that, like, this group, SBLF and other similar groups, couldn't actively try to coordinate or be involved with providing fosters.
Right.
But you're saying that the law would even prohibit you, as the original founder, from just giving it to your aunt to temporarily care for.
Right.
It would say that I've got to immediately turn it or report it, and then only I could temporarily care for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if the shelter's not open and I can't hold it, then I got to put it back out on the street.
Are you sure that it excludes just giving it to anyone?
It's okay. From what now I understand, it's changed from we're getting rid of the whole 501c3 ideal. Now it's you got to be a certified foster. How they figure that they're gonna who's gonna certify the fosters, because obviously South Bend Lost and Found.
Oh boy,
it's
this
a community
is really messy.
Oh yeah.
Where did you hear that this changed?
There is actually a group that, from the people that were at the Regional Roundtable, we get feedback from this, but this one came from Bill Sykes, and, he's actually my partner with PPSB, so I'm kind of confused on exactly why he supports.
Wait, so Bill Sykes is on this group?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, jeez.
And Becky's the only one that has the files. That's probably why you can't get a hold of her.
Can you give me a number for Bill Sykes?
I can get it for you. It's actually on my old phone at my house, but I can send it to you when I get home today, because it's on my old phone. Cause I just got a new phone last week.
So you've heard that. So I just want to make sure I don't misreport what's going on right now, because the way I planned on reporting on this is the whole 501c3 change,
right,
which everyone is talking about. But now you're saying are they thinking about stripping that 501c3 language and just saying
you got to?
It's still the same thing, though, isn't it?
Pretty much, you would have to have qualified, certified fosters. You understand what I'm saying? Like, And I don't know who can control that, because, I mean, there's so much that real crimes are going around here they can't even control, you know what I'm saying? And then now we're talking about this little thing, and it's just going to take up so much resources.
But my question to you is, isn't it the same thing, though, in effect, that, that if SBLF wanted to continue doing what it's doing, it would have to be a 501c3?
It's still going to have some kind of requirement. Not necessarily 501c3, but they're trying to still make it some kind of requirement, which has me so lost, because it's just a Facebook group. It's not an organization. It's nothing like that. It's just a community effort,
Okay, so I want to be better safe than sorry with the way that I characterize it.
Right.
So I think that I want to get someone from the inside, and it sounds like Bill Sykes. I'm having a horrible time getting people to return my calls.
Right, I bet.
Raphael doesn't know the specific language.
Right.
Raphael's playing kind of a secondary role in this.
Right.
Becky apparently is the one that is actually drafting the rule, like you said.
Yeah.
I spoke with Linda Candler, and she wasn't sure on the specifics. She says Becky's revising the rule.
Yep, and nobody that's in the work group knows the specifics, and that's the thing. They don't know. You just got one person that knows exactly what's being wrote down and what's being proposed.
Well, I have enough people telling me this 501c3 thing that I feel comfortable reporting on it.
Right.
That way, because
Yep. But that was definitely the original deal, was the 501c3, and that came from all of them.
And we don't know and we still don't know that that's been changed for sure.
Correct. And as far as I know, Ruth does not know that it's been changed, because if I remember correctly, she said yesterday, I don't know how that was discussed, because we didn't meet.
So you're hearing that it might have been changed.
Right. You got it.
Okay, so I still feel comfortable with the way that I'm reporting on it. Then I'll report on it based on the 501c3 unless I hear differently.
Right.
Do you think I'm on the right track there with that?
Correct. Right.
Okay, so if you want to message me Bill Sykes' phone number, that would be great. I will try to get him on the phone, and then if you, I don't know if you want to try to shoot me a couple of other numbers that you think could be helpful for maybe to try to get a hold of Valerie Shea or Becky.
Yeah.
Like you said, it probably would just go to South Bend Animal Control to see if I can. Okay, well, you've helped me out a lot. So so you're the founder of this pit bull group?
No, actually, Bill Sykes and Gabrielle Thompson is the founders of the group. I'm just the main admin.
Just call you a member?
No, actually, I'm actually one of the main admins on, of the group. Because it's me, because Bill Sykes and Gabrielle, they don't really do so much with it anymore, since, their mission is pretty much complete. Now it's...
Maybe I just say who serves as the administrator of the group?
Right.
When was the group launched?
The group was launched, I'm going to say, about 3 years ago. I came on board about 2 years ago.
Do you consider yourself a member of SBLF?
No, but I definitely consider them being a, part of the network, for animal welfare, period. Because they definitely help me, and, we definitely all rely on each other,
So the way to characterize it would be that this would cripple its ability to serve the community.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, you've helped me out a great deal here, Charles. So I know that, like, when I messaged you, like, I think you were kind of wondering why I was reaching out to you.
Right.
So I've been trying to reach out to a number of people who would just talk to me because the key players won't.
Right.
And so I do have Melody Heinzelman, but again, she's outside of the main circle.
Right. Yep.
Now, let me just pick your brain here for a second. So let's talk about Ruth.
Okay.
So we've reported that she was president of the St. Joseph County area Animal Welfare League, but now she appears to be president of the Michiana Area Welfare League.
Right, it changed its name. Right.
Okay. What's her involvement with SBLF?
Her involvement with SBLF, I'm not quite for sure. Ruth, when I think of changing the county ordinance, or I think of changing Mishawaka's ordinance, I think of Ruth. Ruth has been the main person that has got in front of council and has pushed this and has pushed this and has pushed this and says, we need to change this. We need to, we need to make it better. We need to match it with South End. So she's been the number one key player in this whole ordinance for the county.
One other thing I want, gotcha. That helps me. And I was told that she basically spearheaded the launch of this work group. She was at the front.
Oh yeah.
So one other thing, like when it comes to these different ordinances, even though the Humane Society shelter covers all unincorporated areas of the county and the city of Mishawaka, the city of Mishawaka has its own ordinance. Do you think that then, like the lost and found criteria for it within the city limits of Mishawaka would still be different than from the county ordinance, right? There would be a clash there as well.
I mean, yeah, you would definitely think there would be a clash there, no doubt about it. But like, I don't know if the cities would have to change because of the county, because it goes, state, county, city. So I don't know if they would have to abide within the county rules, because the counties got rid of BSL a long time ago, and both South End and Mishawaka still had it. So there's another case, you know what I'm saying? County didn't have it, but South End Mishawaka did. So you're probably correct. It may not change South End or Mishawaka's ordinance.
That's an important question.
Because the last thing I want to see is South End to go backwards, because they have. I mean, they've done so good. Their ordinance has been, a role model to a lot of cities, and like the Huffington Post, they definitely recognize that, the ordinance as being one of the best ordinances, and hey, this is what other people need to follow by, because it holds the owner responsible, not so much just the dog, it's more the owner.
Okay, sir. You've been very helpful here, so I appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
If you want to if you want to message me Bill's number, that would be great. Okay. And I appreciate all your help here. Just, this is such a messy issue.
Oh, yeah. It is
so complicated that it's so complicated. Yeah. And so my goal here with this story is just to, just explain it as plainly as possible, explain both sides. And, if I need to I don't want to do this, but people who won't talk with me, they've already publicly articulated their positions on Facebook, so I may be doing some of that as well.
Right.
I mean, Ruth has already spoken about how she thinks, a new work group, for example, should be started.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I definitely think so.
She just wants to start over, it sounds like.
Right. Make it fair, make it, definitely where the input matters.
So you think that if this is introduced to council, that the public discussion would then be limited, very limited, and that they would have a much better chance of getting it approved? Is that what you're saying? This proposed change, like for example, there will still be a public vetting process when it's introduced to council. The document will be made public.
Right.
There'll be a chance for public comment.
Right.
But your point is that, look, we shouldn't have to wait until that period, because we ought to have the public involved in the whole process of drafting the changes.
Right.
And you seem to say that if it comes to that, there's a chance that the public input won't override it and we'll get this change.
You're right. Correct. I mean, you got, 3 to 5 minutes, and you got only a half hour for everybody to speak, and it's like, that definitely makes it hard, because you can't really consider that too much public input when you have a total of 266,000 citizens, and a lot of people can't make it to a council meeting to put in their input.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sir. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate all your help.
Hey, you're very welcome.
I'll look for your Facebook message.
Yep. As soon as I get that number, which should probably be about 5, 6 o'clock, I'll send it to you. So.
Okay.
Or if I can get it before then, if I can get it before then, I'll send it to you.
All I'm looking for is just Bill's number.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good, bud.
If you can get that to me soon, that would be great. Again,
okay.
I have to have this story written by like 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm on deadline.
Okay.
So
I will reach out then real quick and see if I can get his phone number from somebody.
Thanks, man.
Hey,
Appreciate
it. No problem.
Okay.
All right. I'll contact you.
Take care, Charles.
Hey, you
okay.
too.